The idea of a Medal of Honor museum in Mount Pleasant is back on the table. I speak exclusively with Mount Pleasant Town Council member Gary Santos for a special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. And of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Gary Santos, it's so good to see you again.
Good to see you too, Quintin.
Oh, I appreciate it greatly. Well, let me jump into the big news because this is the headline from News 2. It reads this: Charleston County plans to give $5 million to new proposed Medal of Honor museum. Let me ask you this. How did you find out about this news?
Oh, well, I read it in the paper this morning, but I think it's great news. I mean, I'd love to talk about the Medal of Honor Museum. I love that there's a movement toward it. I love that the General and Livingston and Tommy are involved. I highly respect both of those gentlemen, and I know that anything that they're involved in is going to be a good thing. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. Absolutely.
Let me talk to you more about it because obviously on Thursday night, Charleston County Council members unanimously approved a motion to commit $5 million in funding for new plans to build a proposed Medal of Honor museum at Patriots Point. Two questions. How much would the town of Mount Pleasant fund if they were to come to you tomorrow?
Well, we had some funding already in place to move the road for the previous Medal of Honor Museum, and I know that funding is still in place. So it's possible that that could be used. I can't speak for council. It'll have to be a decision of council, but so I think possibly those funds might be available, and there might be some other funds available that I just don't know about right yet. So I think we will exhaust all efforts to see what we can do to assist in this effort. I think it's great that the county has stepped up. I think the state, they're looking at the state to step up as well. So I think Mount Pleasant will do its part as well, because I just think it's an honorable thing to do, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about it and being involved.
Those new plans, what should those new plans look like in your mind?
Well, when you say, it's hard to say what it should look like because everybody has an opinion on what looks the best, and you're not going to please everybody. Certainly, it should fit in with the character of Patriots Point, and it should fit in with the the character of Mount Pleasant. And so, hopefully, this time, they'll sit down with council and sit down with the residents and get their opinion on what it should look like before they design it. And I think that's the best thing to do is to do that, because then everybody buys in. Everybody buys in before it is created.
Sure.
So I think that's the best way to do it. And so hopefully they'll do that. And then once they do, I think it's going to fit perfectly in with Patriots Point, and I'm really excited about it.
Okay, they went to Charleston County Council's financial committee to basically ask for $5 million. Why didn't they come to you all first?
I can't answer that. You'll have to ask the General and Tommy. But that's okay. They have to start somewhere, and I'm sure that they got together, decided that was the place to start first. Like I said, I respect those two gentlemen greatly, and I'm sure they made that decision based on the information that they had, and that's okay with me. If the county steps up, it makes me feel better that there's some more funding out there. So, I'm okay with it.
Where should that funding come from?
From Mount Pleasant?
Oh, in totality when it comes to the museum.
I would like to see it come from the state, the county, and the town. I mean, since the revenue that's going to be created will go to those three entities, I certainly think it would be a great opportunity to have all three of us working together for the good of the community and for the good of the Medal of Honor Society and the museum. I think it's an honorable thing to do, and I think we ought to all share in that.
And Channel 2 also reports this. The chairman of the new organization, Tommy McQueenie, obviously with Allstate, says part of the problem with the previous effort was the size of the project.
Mm-hmm.
What should be the size of the project now that they're taking over this project?
Well, it depends on the funding they get, certainly. But first of all, let me correct you. He's with State Farm.
I'm sorry, State Farm. Allstate.
Okay, Tommy, you heard that, right?
Sorry.
I think it should fit in. I'm not sure how tall is too tall and how small is too small. I think that's why we need to sit down and have the meeting before they design it, so that we can come to a conclusion on what we think is going to be the best fit there. And once we do that, then we will all know what it's going to be. We don't want to design it and then find out that some people think it's too tall or some people don't think it's enough. The best thing to do is let's sit down with the citizens, let's sit down with the town, in the county, and let's design this thing such that it fits perfectly and it makes everybody happy, especially the Medal of Honor the recipients
Sure.
who won it. I mean, that's the most important in my eyes is for those folks to be able to say, yes, we like that. We think that's a perfect fit for us.
How soon do you want to have a meeting with Mr. Tommy and obviously General Livingston?
Yesterday.
Mm.
I mean, as soon as they can meet, I'd love to meet with them and find out, what their plans are and what they want to do.
What they want to do. Where do we go from here?
Well, we go from here. Like I said, I think we need to meet with them. I think there needs to be a series of meetings with the public as well, and let's get their idea of what they think. Let's try and put some designs out there and see what everybody thinks and start from the ground up. Sort of like they did the 9/11 memorial in New York. They started from the ground up. They got ideas from the public and they designed it. And I think we ought to kind of pattern ourselves that same way. Is let's get the public to buy in. Let's get the public to be a part of this as well. In the various councils and commissions like the state and the county and the town. And once we get everybody's buy-in, then we can go forward and design a proper museum.
Let me reset, because obviously there's a lot of other things going on in the town of Mount Pleasant, which I really love here. But tell me this: when you drive around the town of Mount Pleasant, what are the issues that are facing this town right now in your mind?
Oh, traffic and congestion is probably the number one issue I hear about constantly. Lack of infrastructure. We're working on those issues. As you probably know, moratorium on apartments. We have a permit allocation plan in effect now, so we're working on it, and it's it'll take a little while for you'll start to see some effect. But those are some of the biggest issues right now. But Mount Pleasant is still a great place. I mean, our taxes are the lowest of the area. Our schools are the best. Recreation is fantastic. Our crime is low. There's so many good things that are going on in Mount Pleasant. Unfortunately, a lot of people like to harp on some of the negatives that they see, but there's so many positives, and that's why we're the fastest growing area around, is because we have so many good things going on. People want to move here. If we didn't have a great community, it wouldn't be congested, and so that's what happens when you build a great community. People want to come and live there, and we welcome that. And we just have to make sure that we stay ahead of the curve and make sure the infrastructure is in place. The drainage improvements are done. That the schools are the best schools and the recreation is the best recreation. And we've been able to do that, but we just need to keep up with the growth. And people have discovered us,
Oh yeah. How do you keep up with, I guess, the future of Shem Creek in your mind?
Well, I was born and raised on Shem Creek, so I've seen it from when there were no docks on Shem Creek to now. You can't even go down, towards Shenwood or any of those neighborhoods without having a ton of docks down there. So we have to keep an eye on the ball because developers will want to come in and do different things, and I think the town needs to make sure that we keep an eye on it to make sure it keeps that eclectic, way of life down there. You have the shrimpers down there. You have people that are paddleboarding. You have restaurants down there. There's just a group of things down there that really make Shem Creek, and it's going to be up to the council to make sure that we keep our eye on that ball and make sure that it stays that way, because that's what draws a lot of people to Mount Pleasant, and it provides a tremendous amount of revenue for the town and for the businesses down there. So we want to make sure that it stays as much as possible the way it is. And so, especially keeping the shrimp boats there and helping everything we can do to keep that there, because people love to come and see the shrimp boats.
Yes, indeed.
I love going down there and buying about 10 pounds of shrimp and cooking it up at night, and it's fun. So, and people have come to know that. And when they come to Mount Pleasant, they want to go to Shem Creek. So, like I said, I was born and raised there. I learned how to swim there, fish there, and crab there. And I want other people to be able to enjoy that same opportunity that I had.
How do you keep your ball on this developing situation with the proposed hotel or bed and breakfast, I believe, in the old village?
Well, that's a situation that's in the courts. So I really can't say a whole lot about that right now. There's a lot of lawsuits out there. So the old village is a special place, and it should always remain a special place. You're going to have people that come in and want to develop it and want to do different things, and you're going to have people that don't want anything done to it. The key is, once again, sort of like I was saying about Shem Creek, we need to make sure that the quality of life in the old village remains the same, remains what it should be. instead of having overdevelopment in there. So we really have to be careful. The key is, the zoning. If something is zoned a certain way, you really can't stop it, because if you stop it, then it's a takings issue, and then you have more legal problems. The key is making sure we keep the zoning such that it allows the community to remain the way it is now. And it's a special place. I mean, we used to box down at the old Alhambra Hall and play baseball down there, and it's a great place. I go down there and I see people walking their children, riding their bikes, walking their dogs, and it needs to stay that way. As much as we can, as much as possible, we need to keep it to where that quality of life remains the same, and it doesn't get overrun with development. And I think that's what's trying to happen now. And so we just have to keep our eye on the ball, like I said, and making sure that we keep that place the fantastic place that it has always been and hopefully continues to be.
Dr. Gary Santos, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
My pleasure.
Thank you.